Hello, and welcome to today's skills video for Excel 2019-365. Today we're going to go over the Domain 3.0 hands-on exercise. As you can see, I've already downloaded both of the files required for this exercise and have resized them to fit my window. If you need a moment to do this, pause the recording now and take care of that. Begin the video again when you are ready to proceed. Okay, let's get going. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down my instructions here. And our first stop is going to be creating and formatting tables. As you can see, I only have one tab in this worksheet, but I'll click on it to activate it anyway. We're going to select the cell range A5 through E19. So there's A5, hold down my Shift key, click E19. I have this range selected. I will format this as a table. You will find the tools for that on your Home tab, in your Styles group, Format as Table. You'll see the table gallery expands here. I am looking for the dark green table style dark 7. Okay, just had to roll up that menu and check on that. So this one looks like dark green table style 7, dark 7. So I'll go ahead and select that. And I will verify that my range selected is A5 through E19. A5 through E19, and make sure that the box is checked to indicate that your table has headers. Box is checked. If yours is not, go ahead and check that. I will say OK. We will now name this table Site Work. A couple ways to do that, but the easiest thing to do at this time is to go, you're still on the Table Tools Design. This pops up when you create a table. Over here in the Properties group, you will see the table name. I'm just going to call this one Site Work. The table names don't allow spaces in them, so just make sure that you haven't tried to do that. If you require a space, just use an underscore. I'll go ahead and hit Enter, and you will see that this table is now named Site Work. So use the Go To tool to navigate to the table named Demolition. So the Go To tool lives back on our Home tab, all the way over here on the right in the Editing group under Find and Select. You may remember this from Domain 1. We're going to grab Go To. And a list pops up here. You can see there's our site work table. There's another one here that's already been made for you called Demolition. Click on it, I hit OK, and I jump down to my demolition table. So we want to change this table style to Gold Table Style Medium 12. So once again, the Table Tools Design tab pops up. If it's not activated, go ahead and click on the Design tab, and you have your table styles here. Right now, you're in Green Table Style Dark 11. You'll want to grab this More button right here and find the one called Gold Table Style Medium 12. Looks like this one right here. I'll go ahead and select it. And now my table style is Gold Medium 12. So we're going to convert the table demolition to a range. In order to do that, click anywhere inside the table, Table Tools Design tab. Over under Tools, you have the Convert to Range. Click that. It gives you a second chance. Are you sure? Do you want to convert this table to a normal range? And I'll say yes. So now all the special table functionality has been stripped from this, although you'll notice the formatting hangs around. So we're going to use the Clear Contents option to delete columns 1 through 4 column headers in row 20. So we've got column 1, 2, 3, and 4 here in row 20. I'm just going to select those 4 cells. And right here, in the Editing group of the Home tab, I'm going to choose Clear, and I'm just going to clear the contents out of there. Okay, so now those column 1, 2, 3, and 4 entries are gone. So that was creating and formatting tables. Next move is modifying tables. So we're going to navigate back to the table Site Work. So in order to do that, you can either use the Go To, or you can just scroll back up and click anywhere inside the table Site Work. Notice there is a duplicate entry for Garage Secure on rows 14 and 15. Oh, 13 and 14. I'll have to change that. 13 and 14 have rows for Garage Secure. Let's delete row 14. And I do that just by single-clicking on the row heading, right-clicking, and delete. You could also come up here to Table Tools Design and delete. Same thing. So there goes my extra Garage Secure. So that was going to be 13 and 14 rather than 14 and 15. By the time you guys get this, instructions, it'll be perfect, I promise. Okay, we're going to add a column for notes to this table by clicking in cell F5 right here, F5, and we're going to type the word notes and hit enter. Notice this creates a whole other column for us. You'll also notice that this column header is black. That is the default for this style that we chose. It did not overwrite the original fill, but it did take this empty cell that had no fill and let the default kick in. So let's give your table a unified look by applying the table styles default header fill to the whole table. In order to do this, we're just going to go back to the Table Tools Design tab here. We're going to find the style that we have chosen. If it's available here in this gallery, great. If not, you may need to hit this expand triangle. Find the dark green table style, dark 7, and right-click on it. You're going to get an option to apply it and clear the formatting that already exists. So I'm going to choose that, and you will see that any formatting I already had on my table now disappears in favor of the defaults of the table style that I chose. So that's great. Now we have a nice unified look for our whole table. So that was C. Number 3, from the Table Styles Options group on the Table Tools Design menu. So we're right here. We're going to make sure that the header row and the first column are emphasized by putting a check box in there. Notice what happens. I'll just toggle on and off in this first column. Clicking the first column just gives this bold and it removes the banded rows. So it just kind of makes it stand out. So we want to emphasize the header row and the first column. We want to choose our banded rows that's already there. We want to make sure the filter button is available. We do that by clicking on this check mark. That gives us these little toggles here. If I turn that off, you'll see that functionality goes away. You can still get at it, but it's not quite as easy. We're also going to add a total row. So let's go ahead and check total row here. I'm going to scroll down though so you can see what happens. Right now, row 18 is the last row of our table. Row 19 begins demolition. If I check a total row, row 19 now becomes a total row for just this table. So we're going to format that total row so that in cells B19 and C19, we're going to sum the predicted expenses and the actual expenses. You do that by single-clicking in the cell you want to affect, grabbing the drop-down, and choosing the formula that you want. In this case, it's sum. We'll do the same thing in C19. We will sum. In D19, we want to select average. For this difference amount, we want to see what's the difference that we were off. So I'm going to click this and choose this drop-down on the right-hand side and choose average. And then it says in cells E19 and F19, we don't want anything here. We don't want a sum, we don't want to average. Doesn't make sense. So I'm going to select the cell, grab the drop down and say none, and the same thing in F19. And we'll say none. Excellent. Let's move along. In the filter and sort table data section, we're going to be back in the table site work. So if you've clicked out of here for some reason, click back in. We're going to apply a filter to the over under budget column header to display only the over budget rows. So check out these numbers, just keep an eye on this. And then let's scroll up to the over under budget. We're going to grab this drop down. We're going to uncheck select all and ask it to only display for us the overages, anything that says over. I'll say OK. And now our table displays only the rows that have an over budget indication. And notice that these totals kept up with us. So we're only summing and averaging what is showing here in the table. The next step is to remove this filter. So when I remove this filter by clicking here and saying clear the budget, notice that these numbers now accommodate everything that is showing in the table. So that takes us through step 3. Step 4, still in the table site work, we want to sort the data alphabetically by the name of the task. So in order to sort, we're going to go back to the Home tab. We're going to make sure, of course, we're clicked somewhere inside the table. Home tab, Editing Group, we're going to go to Sort and Filter. And because this is the table with headings on it, we're going to need the custom sort button here. If I just try to sort A to Z or Z to A, it's a very simple functionality and it doesn't give me all the options I need. So I'm going to choose Custom Sort. In this case, I can say Sort by Site Work and give me the cell values. So whatever's inside these cells and sort them A to Z. I'll say OK. And now my table is sorted alphabetically. Notice, however, I have 3 entries here for landscaping. Maybe I've got a front yard, a backyard, a side yard, or a deck, and they have 3 different predicted and actual expenses. Notice, however, these are not sorted in any particular way. I want to sort my actual expenses now within this original sort. If there are more than one entry for a category, I want these sorted less to most, smallest to largest. So in order to do that, I once again go back to my sort and filter. I reselect my custom sort. Now, instead of changing this, I'm simply going to add a level. And what that's going to do is it says first sort by site work, get those alphabetical. Once you've done that, then we're going to sort by actual expenses, and we're going to go smallest to largest. So when I say OK, nothing over here is going to change, but you will see that my landscaping values go from smallest to largest under actual expenses. Click OK, and sure enough, here's my landscaping. The smallest actual expense is $2,500, medium $3,500, largest $4,600. So that worked just fine. And that is our last task. So congratulations, you made it through the Domain 3.0 hands-on exercise. I'm sure after completing the epic first Domain hands-on exercise, you're feeling like you really dodged a bullet on this one. It's very short. Feel free, however, to repeat it as often as you want and to use this data to play around with the table functionality and experiment with anything you think the test might throw at you. So reach out to an instructor if you have any questions. Otherwise, happy travels through Domain 4.0.